All right, so
Boat trip.
Boat trip.
Let's go back.
Because I want to get lost in this.
All right. So let me just say right now, who wrote the film? Sometimes when I talk about this movie, there is a little pride in it, and then there also is a lot of shame. And one thing I feel too right now is like I start giving people's names out. It's like the Nuremberg trials. You know, like, who else? Who else was involved?
Like your agents in the back going, wait, did you tell them that you changed agencies after the...
And in fact, I did.
I know a couple of the writers are rumored to be hiding in Argentina to this day.
Very, very nice guys. One of them, the director, was a very nice man called Mort Nathan, and he had rounded up a cadre of writers from where he worked, which was the Golden Girls. So the guy who writes for the Golden Girls, I'm like, well, Golden Girls pretty good.
Mitch Hurwitz worked on Golden Girls.
Yeah, no worries there. And then Cuba Gooding Jr., like you had mentioned on the podcast, he'd won an Oscar, and then 30 seconds later made this movie. Sank his career.
It felt like for him, nine movies came out at the same time. It's almost like he somehow like they rushed Jerry Maguire out or something, and it actually was made. Wait, I'm getting my timeline wrong. But it was just weird because it was like Boat Trip and Talking Dogs and like he was a guy that found a genie in space and like it all came out it felt like it came out a month after Jerry Maguire. Anyways.
Yeah, and I think at that time after the Oscar, I think he had this thing where it's like just wire $3 million into my bank account, and if it's there in the morning, I'll meet you in Italy and we'll make this movie. It was that kind of thing.
And to understand why, you have to understand the tragic story of Cuba Gooding Sr.
Yeah, he was a revolutionary.
A lot of people called him Cuba Batting. That's how hard his life... Please, you keep talking, please. And no matter how bad the story gets, it won't matter because I'm using chicken tongues.
Yeah, so it was, I think, the summer of 99, I think, maybe. I remember I was asked to promote Boat Trip a week after 9/11. They were like, just come on and take pictures. I'm like, dudes, it's 9/12. I don't really want to be on a plane. And I'm like, it's not that I'm afraid that right now every plane's going to blow up, but I don't want to be in a plane thinking about the fact that 2 days ago I saw the second tower collapse in lower Manhattan. Yeah. So, that's just a little side note. There was a looming writer's strike. Do you remember this?
Yeah.
Yes.
Wait, so you had already made the film or you had not made the film?
I had not made the film. I'm going back. 2001 is when I had to promote it, but go back to whenever it was, 99. There was going to be a writer's strike that summer, so everybody was like, you got to do a movie. You got to do a movie. And this was one of those movies. Right. One of those, you got to do a movie because they might not make another movie for 2 years, and you're going to be back at SNL, and you can only do it in this window. So Cuba Gooding, the script was pretty bad when I first read it, but I was told that I would be able to help rewrite it, and I didn't get a chance to do that. I was not allowed to do that. It's weird. Someone in show business kind of pulled a trick on me. I don't know.
Yeah. Or just for like, they just didn't even realize what they were saying. Sometimes I feel like agents, I hesitate to say my agent who I've trusted for like almost 20 years, but like all agents, like it's not that they're lying as much as it is like they just don't, their priorities are so skewed that they don't know that they're lying.
Maybe they don't want to think about their lying.
Right. They are convinced when they tell you that the right thing to do is this or that. Like they do, they because they have lots of mythology to back them up. Like they're like, you know what, you know who's picky about his roles? Hitler. Like I don't know. They offered him. He would have been like Johnny Weissmuller. They were looking for a new Tarzan, and Hitler passed because he thought it would be tacky. You know what's tacky? Killing 6 million Jews.
Absolutely.
So, anyways, are you enjoying the flatbread? I love this place. I'm sorry, I was in the scene. I was your agent.
Always set the
My space work was so good that a UCB guy was like lost. Or it was so bad that a professional improviser was like, "Why are you gesturing?"
It was so good, I thought someone had flatbread over here. I'm like, that's weird. These guys are eating flatbread.
All right, so sorry. I don't know why I keep interrupting. Like I'm like, they won't know it's my show. Tell the story of Boat Trip. Let me shut the fuck up.
So I get a call, and they're saying that, well, if you don't do it, Artie Lange's going to do it. And then they're like, Roger Moore's in it. And I was like, fuck, I love Roger Moore. He was my Bond. You know, my age coincides with that Bond. So I'm like, I'll be able to do scenes with my Bond. So I slept on it, and I had a dream where Abraham Lincoln, this is no lie. In this dream, Abraham Lincoln says, don't do things for money.
It's all I ever did. Now I'm on two kinds of them.
Ironic, isn't it?
If I had held out, I jumped on the penny. I didn't know the $5 bill was going to get pitched to me. I said I wouldn't talk.
No, please do, because there has to be funny things talked about.
Abe Lincoln said, "Don't do things for money," and that's your Abe Lincoln voice, who's never been recorded, so we don't know. But that's your head.
I prefer that it's not like Minnie Mouse or something. You know, they say you had a high pitched.
Yeah. But I want to talk to
like
your
Dame
Abe
Edna.
Lincoln.
He talked like Dame Edna.
Can we talk to your Abe Lincoln just for a little bit more? I just want to like I'm your roommate.
Hello, how are you?
Listen, Abe, the lint trap in the machine, the dryer fills up. So after every load, you have to clean it out.
Oh, that's good to make bedding.
Right. You're from a more resourceful time.
Oh yeah. We'd sleep two to a bed. You know.
I'd prefer if we didn't, but I noticed you did last night, and I'm not homophobic. There is another bedroom in the apartment for you.
Yeah, and I like it. I like that you're free about stuff. You know, where I'm from, slavery was cool.
Yeah. Oh, that's.
And now it's not. So things change. So. I'm really happy with this gay marriage situation. Couldn't dream of doing that when I was with old Mary Todd, you know. Although I did.
It must have kind of broke your heart. It must have kind of broke your heart when Horatio made that movie. Remember, you were pretty.
Lincoln?
Are we in the present right now? Are we back?
Didn't you say you transported into Horatio Sands' dream last night and warned him not to do things for money? And I read it. I just read the trades today. He
ignored me. He's doing it.
Yeah.
He's doing a sex farce in Germany with German people.
You took such. I've never seen you, Abe, in the 6 months we've been living together since we met through Craigslist. I've never seen you take such an active interest in a modern American performer. What was it about you and Horatio?
Well, it's just the right time, you know. Oh, I know. He's from Illinois. I'm from Illinois.
Oh, that's what it is. Yeah. He's a Chicago man.
And he was in some drunk ambient haze and was like, Lincoln, what should I do? I told him what I would do. Okay. Ending the scene, because that's a really interesting concept. So this is really actually true for what we understand of psychology, unless you believe the ghost of Lincoln came into your dream. I don't.
The funnier, the more poetic truth is that in your mind, you thought
my mind was figuring it out for me.
You conjured the icon of integrity.
Yeah. I created this character in my brain to tell me in my sleep to not do this movie, and I ignored it.
But yeah, and I could spend the next half hour. You don't need to be let off the hook for that, right? Like you don't feel like you made a bad. Do you feel bad about it?
I feel bad about. I feel bad that it's a joke. No, please. No. But it was much like when I played a mariachi on Saturday Night Live. You know, I was like, it's okay because people see me in other things. So Boat Trip has become okay because I've done many other things where I've been able to be funny and happy with what I did. People still come up to me and tell me about Boat Trip, mostly Puerto Rican and black people in New York. They all love that movie. And also, when I did a show in Iraq, and the soldiers told me that part of their welcome bag was Boat Trip. So I have a lot of fans in Iraq, and I signed a bunch of Boat Trip DVDs. But that was kind of fitting, also, that I was in Iraq and just like seeing what a mess this whole fucking thing was, and right,
because you were there at 9/11 and saw the buildings collapsing, and now you were in the boat trip of 9/11, which is the Iraq War.
Yeah.
The result of the White House not listening to Abe Lincoln.
All of this was, if I had just listened to Abe Lincoln, there would be no terrorism. This was just a string of events that happened.
Oh wait, no, I don't know how you. I didn't mean to imply that.
I think you can correlate when I decided to do Boat Trip with the beginning of the terrorist planning. No. There's a lot of conspiracies about it, but Jeff, yes.
All right, so you say yes, I'll do the movie, and day one, like, what was the vibe on the set? Like, did you know?
I knew pretty right away that it was off.
It was not working.
Yeah, like I flew from New York and had to be like there that morning, so I didn't really sleep. And then it was just what I thought was going to be a thing where we can like look at the script the night before and maybe work on some scenes was just like we do 2 takes. One for you, and then one where you improvise.
What?
So basically, what I was told wasn't happening. So it was very, very under the gun filmmaking. It was half the crew was German because it was a half German production, and they hated us and we hated them. And what else happened?
Well,
it's the scene because
yeah. Let's talk about.
I want to know the scene when all the jizz flies out the portal and lands on Roger Moore. Who gets hit with the jizz?
Oh, his name is. Here he is. Sorry.
I mean, it's been a while since.
Yes, Your Honor. Hold on a second. I'm thinking.
And was he told he was in a jizz joke? He knew. Yes,
he was
something about Mary had a jizz joke.
He had a chance to say no. They asked him if he wanted to be the guy that caught the jizz.
Eleanor Roosevelt came to him in a dream.
Anyway, he was one of the writers it was on.
Okay.
And so the porthole scene.
But rewinding, because the reason he's coming out the porthole, and you kids can rent this week, if you haven't, if I'm not mistaken, the reason Cuba is coming out the porthole is because this is the culmination of him pretending to be gay so that he can be close to this Vivica Fox. Is that
yes, and she starts eating a banana.
So the banana is the most important thing. If a bus was coming through this wall, before I got out of the way or pushed you out of the way, I would go, the banana, tell me about the banana.
Okay, the banana.
Okay. Because I don't want to die without, I don't even want to live without. The banana, in high def, when she's eating the banana, it appears the banana is chiseled into the shape.
I didn't know this, but
of a dick. Well, you weren't in that scene. And I do want to say, like, I'm not saying this in like I don't know. I feel like there's a similar. We had Dana Carvey on the show, who I was like at the time taking on this pitch of like he's amazing stuff, and he expressed so much. Like there's a sad side to this which has nothing to do with like whether or not it's the idea that there's a human cost, the idea that you actually feel still that you feel when people are like that you feel like you that you did something wrong or that you have a lower quality to your worth by virtue of a choice.
Just from a choice.
Yeah. Anybody might have. No, look at the reason the population of the Earth is 8 billion is because everybody makes bad choices with the most. the most important thing you could ever choose of all is whether or not you should fuck somebody, and we have a 70% divorce rate. We don't we're human mistakes. You can't know. That's not your job to know you're an actor.
Well, thank you.
It's not like Horatio Sands and Cuba Gooding are the it's like you guys had a 2-man comedy troupe and you're like, we want to make this movie, and
Right.
even then that would have been amazing. And
Yeah, but I feel like, as a comedian and someone who's a social critic, I guess, just by being a comedian, you have to take your you have to take your shots. Like I would still like to tell people that I care about, like, this sucks and this is why I don't like it, but it has made it a little difficult because that is attached to me. So in a way, it's kind of humbled me, in a way.
Which can't be bad. That can
No.
only be good.
No, and like you said, it is true. Like, if that's what I really...
Yeah, but nobody watching that movie blames you for any of what went wrong with that film. Like, you're fine in it. It's just that the movies is the culprit here. Like,
and as you said, like the fact that the crew is half German, I mean, that's the part where you start to go like, oh yeah, like, because that's how weird it feels. Like, it's
Right.
like people, it's not like Geely, like it's which I have never seen. So why did I just shit all over that movie? But it's a historically like. There's stories of hubris behind historically bad movies of like so and so thought he was such king shit that he thought he'd do this. This was a first time director and now we know a half German crew and
we were shooting in Brussels as we were shooting in Germany as L.A. And then when we went on the boat trip, we actually did go on a boat. So half the crew was half the people on the boat were making this film, and then the other people didn't know. So so they were really mad that we were shooting in the hot tub. We were closing up the hot tub and the pool, and they were really mad at us. But
but you weren't on set for the banana scene. Did you? I mean, what do you know about the banana? Vivica Fox is eating a banana. The joke is that she's showing him how she's not actually showing him how she eats a banana, and it's ironically like dick sucking. She's showing him how she gives a blowjob, right? She's demonstrating with a banana.
Yeah, that thing in a date that happens when you're on a date,
right.
And the woman starts showing you how she would blow you on a piece of fruit.
This is something women do with gay men too all the time.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you're gay? Well, let me just like rub my tits on you and talk about sucking dick and but the weirdest thing of all, like which is why you should never have to worry about the movie reflecting on you at all, because it's surreal. The whole movie from front to back is absolutely surreal. You might as well just be in a Jackson Pollock painting, like waving.
That's cool.
like 10 years from now, we may find out this movie's good. That's how fucking weird it is. And one of the weird things about it is the banana that she's demonstrating fellatio on it cuts in close, and she's like licking it, and for some reason the prop master has shaped the head of the banana into a like very faithful like helmet of a cock.
So the joke is that somehow God created these wonderful fruit, and that the joke is that it came out looking like a real dick. So it's perfect. It should be sucked on.
yeah.
But
Right? Because I don't really remember.
It's just such a weird thing to have.
I've not watched it on
it's
HD.
Such a strange afterthought, and then it's been so long since I've seen it, but in my mind, then there's just a snowball effect of wild shit starts happening, and he's like trying to keep it in his pants and sublimate his horniness, and while she turns her back, he just unleashes what I recall as being like half a gallon of cum.
well, it was. If you want to know the truth, it was grosser than that, because it was not a realistic amount, but like a bucket would have been then. It would have taken you to Dracula Dead and Loving It territory. You'd be like, well, that's silly. Nobody comes that much. But it was disgusting because he thrust his hips out the porthole and goes, oh! And in my memory, for no reason, just because it seems like something that should happen, the ship's horn goes.
Oh yeah.
And then it cuts to outside, and apparently the porthole is above people who are on deck enjoying the night air. and one of the actors has a semi-realistic amount of pure white thick cum.
Sunscreen.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like sunscreen.
It really does.
Falls on his face, and then they make a joke like, oh, there's a bird out here. Like, and the weird thing is, if you thought a bird shit on your face, you'd react almost the same as if you knew a man came on your face. But because it's cum, the irony has to be there. So they're like, oh, it's a bird. Oh, these darn birds. Which you would never do if a bird shit on your face.
And it was more like that silent film, like, whereas if you had a gigantic load like that, it would feel like a snowball in your eye.
I want to say I know that the actor that it wasn't Patrick, was it? I think a friend of mine was in that. I can't think of who it was.
He was a Second City actor who was there in the 70s, and he's I'm sorry, I can't think of it, but he wrote on Golden Girls with.
Oh, okay.
So he was just a guy who was hanging out as an actor, and they're like, "Hey, you want to do that part?" He's like, "All right, fuckers, I'll do it." And then that's how it happened.
That's a good story. I was the guy that got the jizz on the head.
And it must have been great to work with Roger Moore. Because he's Roger Moore no matter what, and he was in that movie. So
yeah, he has that Bob Saget thing where he just says filthy things all the time, just so that you don't think that he's the proper real James Bond.
Right. Which you and I, that's the joke's on us because it's not like we both thought Roger Moore was the real James Bond, and then you grow up like now we're looking back through the lens of all of our friends who are like aggregators of James Bond culture, and it's like, oh, Roger Moore was like the Adam West of James Bonds.
Right.
But you and I were like, that's James Bond.
Yeah, he was the one in space.
You'd watch the Sean Connery ones and you'd be like, this is, I can't believe they let this go on long enough to get their act together. With View to a Kill.
Sean Connery's not really funny in those films, right?
He's
wry.
The movies got increasingly campy with Roger Moore's like influence, and he was the saint, right? Yeah, I mean that's Roger Moore is like he's the guy who kind of coincided with the gadgets, right? Moreover, they had gadgets in the Sean Connery movie. I'm talking on my ass. Matt Gorley is a guest.
There was always gadgets in that bit, but they weren't just camp with Connery. He cracked a lot of jokes and one-liners, and mostly about pussy and stuff.
It became
you're eat pussy.
What was it? I'm pussy galore. He goes, I noticed.
Yeah, not
how would he notice?
Not so clever.
What's that fucking mean?
Also, not even
pussy lips are sticking out of your pants.
What? You've got an enormous amount of pussy. You have a truly gigantic pudding.
The funny thing would be if then she called him on like, well, that's not very clever, and he'd be like, either is your name. I'm yes-anding like on its level, like pussy galore. Yeah, I noticed. Don't make me fucking carry your weight. You can't do better than pussy galore, and I'm supposed to be like riddle tiddle do like. I'm supposed to like 23 skidoo like.
I'm supposed to either let that pass or come up with the world's best pussy galore joke. Stop making me the bad guy in this conversation.
Yeah, your name might as well be Bucket Suck a Dick. So yeah, I noticed. That's what you get. I noticed.
That's what I've heard.
My name is Suck a Dick. Bucket Suck a Dick. Okay, all right. My name's James Bond. Let's get to work. There's the world's at stake. First of all, apparently, I don't know why. The beginning scenes are always really confusing.
I did Matt Gorley and what's the other guy's name on the podcast? The blonde one. Oh, he's go kill me. Jeremy Carter. No, not Jeremy Carter. The guy that did the Matt Mirra.
Yeah.
And we did the podcast, and we did Man with the Golden Gun, and there was some straight up woman beating in that movie. It's like it takes a really weird turn. He just starts boxing this chick around. It's like that's not sexy.
And yet, just 23 years ago,
super hot.
There was never mind. Yeah. I can't remember, and then I'll fumble around for it.
So, Horatio, the movie is finished. How long did it take to shoot the whole thing?
3 months.
3 months. And so was there a big screening, a big hoo-ha? Hollywood screening and all that?
Yeah, I think there was, like, around 9/11, like after. Like this, I think it came out the spring of 2002.
The world was ready for a laugh at that.
They wanted it, yeah.
Did you approve of the idea of having the red carpet go right through Ground Zero? Like, I know a lot of people cited that as like one of the things that they were put off by. I was like, why does the red carpet have to go through the middle of Ground Zero and then bank back around to a theater, which is like a mile away?
Yeah, they said that we're actually like doing construction stuff in there, and we're like, please postpone construction. Let us have our premiere. This is a celebration of New York. This country's acceptance of the gay human beings. And, it was all about, getting them back, is what I like to say, getting back the Osamers that did that to us.
Can you tell whether or not that movie is homophobic when you watch it through, like, a 2015 lens? Because I can't remember the last time I watched it, but it was, like, I know it was, like,
Well, the guy who plays a gay guy is just so, like, he's so out of hand gay that he's wearing like makeup and just like weird, like if he was doing a space show in the 60s,
right.
That's how gay he is.
I think I think that's the exact mistake I made on a Community episode that was like early, like it was I can't remember if it was, I think it was season 3, it was like we want, at our heart we wanted to tell a story about like worlds coming together and a bigot that stops being a bigot because he actually learns these people are human beings, blah blah blah. The blah blah blah.
Blah blah blah.
It's the most honest thing I've ever said on this stage. Because the truth is, I'm neither homophobic nor an advocate. I'm just a fucking narcissist. Blah blah blah. That's the only honest thing I've ever said politically on this stage. Blah 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 in reference to an entire like movement. The mistake that we made when I didn't even notice we were making it, because it's a sitcom and it's a half-hour long, was like, yeah, the gay people, they read as gay, and that was the mistake, because it was part of the setup in the story sense. It was like, well, once upon a time there was a bigot, and the bigot is a cartoon of a bigot because it's a sitcom. And then just, it was like, and what we accidentally did, because we weren't even thinking about it, we weren't trying to create dimensionalized gay characters on our show. We just weren't thinking about that being a failure if we didn't do that, because we were just playing with Tinker Toys. Oh, here's the bigot and here's the gay guy. Wardrobe's here. How should the gay guy dress? Well, guess what? The casting's here. Who should we cast as the gay guy? That guy. And it was all in the name of just sort of like, oh, the story will be effective if the ducks that are teasing the ugly duckling read as ducks, and so the beautiful and the swans read as swans, because it's hubris, and it's and then what we found out is like, it was like, oh shit, the offensive thing, I guess, is like there's a huge misstep that you could do along the way that you're not even trying to do, that actually cuts the same silhouette as bigotry, which is like, oh, you're just doing a caricature. And, I mean, I don't know why I'm explaining this. Everyone understands that part. What I'm explaining is that I didn't understand, why I would do that, Yeah,
well, even as a comedian trying to make fun of gay people, for just funny things that they do, you have to be very careful. You can't just say. So I think the mistake is that we see the old caricature of a gay person on TV in the 70s, which was like completely flaming, shirt open, pink, gold shoes, and then we're going to make fun of that by making that even more ridiculous. I think that's another mistake people make, is just making it super gay, because we know it's a joke, but in the same breath you have this caricature. Yeah,
the idea that, I think the mistake is like, and that I realize now, is that you have to write up to every character, and I don't know why I would violate that rule. Like Chevy Chase's character was like, to me he's a cartoonish because he's this crazy character, but I'm also always writing up to that character. And if a gay guy is like walking through the frame and he has 5 seconds to be gay and set up a story point, like the challenge is on me, like to construct a story where, because if anybody's watching straight or gay, it's actually, I think I guess I'd summarize the mistake as being like writers tend to we forget that the whole goal is immersification, whether or not it's silliness or like whatever, however ridiculous the joke is or whatever, if it's in the medium of people watching it and listening to it, like your end goal is that they believe it's real, kind of. Even a pie fight. So it's like, that's funny that it's a pie fight, because why would people fight with pies? So I believe they're people, and I believe those are pies. Like, and so if it's dangerous to like do social commentary of any kind. Like you have to rise up to that, because you're using people and groups of people as pies in a pie fight, and you have to like, no, that needs to read as like actual believable meringue, or you're gonna make people, because like they can see the tin hit the face of like in those pie fight scenes. Like, now I love my metaphor, because like when it's like clearly just fucking whipped topping in a fucking pie plate.
I hate when the pie fight's just a bunch of whipped cream. Come on, it's like, that's not a dish.
Or shaving cream, even worse.
Huh?
When they make shaving cream.
Yeah.
And how much funnier is it to get hit with a real pie? And how much funnier maybe would have, there's nothing wrong with the concept of but there's nothing inherently offensive about that idea at all. It could be like a masterpiece of whatever. You could say that about anything. You could say that about.
Was there any backlash or like any reaction, Horatio, from the gay community about Boat Trip?
I
mean, positive or negative or indifferent?
I don't think they. I don't know. Maybe, but I don't remember.
There was never like a big stink up. Yeah.
No, because the heart was in the right place. My character learned that gay people were human.
Yeah.
Right. What was your character? How does your character's arc end? Does he come out as gay, or does he just accept the?
I accept gays, and I end up hooking up with this woman who lives in the hills in Sweden. I find her, and she's some sexy thing that for some reason was there. So it ends up okay for me.
And in some indirect way, that's a reward for you accepting gays, is that you get to have a pure form of heterosexuality.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because there's like some kind of Swedish bikini team or something, like literally lands on the boat or something.
Yeah. No. I shoot down a helicopter.
With your cum.
With the whole super cum is explained in the first 5 minutes of the movie. Cuba and I eat these weird donuts that have this stuff that we get super cum. That's why this. No. Wait, where was I?
Well, you were
shooting down a helicopter.
I shot down a helicopter. I had forgotten that I shot this scene, so when I saw this, I got really high and saw this movie like 2 years later after I made it, and I'm like, what? I shoot down a helicopter with a flare gun? Holy shit! I remember having to act like, okay, the helicopter's falling. There's 9 models inside the plane. The helicopter you just shot down. So you don't know what you're gonna do. You're gonna get some help. Or you're gonna jump in the water. And it was, I just it hit me pretty hard that I'd shot down a helicopter in this comedy that we had made.
That was the bridge too far for you in that movie?
Yeah. I mean, if you watch that, all believability goes out the window right there. If there was really at the edge of their seat saying like, wow, I hope these guys figure it out. And then after that, they're like, oh, what the hell? These guys are jokers.